Hello there! Hope you're having an amazing day. I'm back with another exciting Excel tutorial. In this video, we're going to learn how to use the VLOOKUP function in Microsoft Excel. And in the end of the video, I will also tell you how to handle errors. So, without wasting any time, let's dive right in. Here you can see I have a small data set with some sample data. But just imagine for a second if this wasn't small. Imagine hundreds of rows, or even thousands of records. That's where VLOOKUP really becomes valuable, and this example will give you the essence of the power behind VLOOKUP. So, in this example, we have a list of employee names, and our goal is to find each employee's sales amount. Now, that information isn't here. It actually lives somewhere else, which happens to be right over here. In this table, we have the employee names, their region, and their sales. This list is short right now, but in real life, it could easily be thousands of rows of data. And let's be honest, you don't want to do this manually, right? You don't want to look up each name, find the value, copy it, and type it in one by one. That would take forever. What you really want is for Excel to do the work for you. And that's exactly what VLOOKUP helps us do. So the first thing we need to do is click on the cell where we want the answer to appear. Then, start by typing an equal sign and begin writing VLOOKUP. As soon as you start typing, Excel is going to suggest the function for you right here. Just press Tab to accept it, and Excel automatically opens the parentheses for you. Now, inside these parentheses, Excel shows us exactly what this formula needs to work properly. The very first thing it asks for, also called the first argument, is the lookup value. So ask yourself, what are we searching for? In this case, we're looking for Jane Smith, so I'll simply click on the cell that contains her name. Next, we move on to the next argument by using the argument separator. For me, that's a comma, but for you, it might be a semicolon. That just depends on your regional or locale settings in Excel, so don't worry if yours looks a little different. Next, Excel asks for the table array for the VLOOKUP. This simply means the range where Excel should search for the value. Now, this range has to include two important things. First, the lookup value, and second, the column that contains the answer you want. With VLOOKUP, you can't select separate or individual columns. You must select one continuous block of data, and in our case, that's this entire range right here. There's one very important rule you always need to remember. The column that contains your lookup value must be on the left-hand side of the column that contains the result. So here, the name column needs to be to the left of the sales column, and it is. That's exactly why this setup works perfectly with VLOOKUP. Next, we move on to the column index number. This tells Excel which column we want the result from. Excel starts counting columns from left to right beginning at 1. So this is column 1, this is column 2, and this right here is column 3. So what number should we enter? 3. Why? Because the sales column is the third column in our selected range, and that's the value we want returned. Now, the last argument in the VLOOKUP function appears in square brackets. And in Excel, anything in square brackets means that the argument is optional. However, if you want an exact match, that argument is not optional for you. You must enter false, which tells Excel, I want an exact match, nothing close, nothing approximate. And that's exactly what we want in most real-world VLOOKUP scenarios. Now when I press enter, everything works perfectly. Here's a quick tip to keep in mind, especially if you're sharing this workbook with colleagues. If you ever notice someone using 0 instead of false in the VLOOKUP formula, don't worry, that's not a mistake. In Excel, 0 and false mean the same thing when it comes to exact matches. So whether you see false or 0, both tell Excel, give me an exact match. As long as you use one of those two, the formula will work exactly as expected. Now, before I drag this formula down, there's one very important step we must not skip. I need to go back into edit mode and lock the table array range. Why? Because if you plan to copy the formula down, that lookup range must stay fixed. If you don't lock it, Excel will shift the range and your results will break. So always remember, fix the table array first, then drag the formula down. Now, our formula is actually working correctly, but we're still getting an n/a error for this employee name. So what's going on? The issue is very simple. I accidentally added an extra space at the end of the name. If I remove that space, press Enter, and boom, it works perfectly. But here's the real problem. In real-world data, you might have hundreds or thousands of names, and some of them may have extra spaces. Some may not. We don't want to fix those manually. So instead, we want to handle this inside the formula itself. What I'll do is wrap the lookup value reference inside the trim function. The trim function automatically removes any leading or trailing spaces from text. Now, when I update the formula and press Enter, everything works like a charm. This is a great little trick that can save you a lot of frustration when working with messy data. Now let's look at another type of error you might run into. When a value doesn't exist in your lookup range, Excel will return a number sign n/a error. And that's actually a good thing because it tells us the record simply isn't there. At this point, you have two options. You can fix the missing data, or you can tell Excel what to show instead of an error. This is where the ifna function comes in. So if your VLOOKUP is returning number n/a, you can wrap it inside ifna and decide what should appear when the value isn't found. For example, instead of showing number n/a, we can return a friendly message like record not found. So we close the bracket, press Enter, and now, whenever a value is missing, Excel displays record not found instead of an error. You can also use if error, which works in a similar way, but keep in mind, if error catches all types of errors, not just number n/a. So depending on your situation, you can choose the function that fits your needs best. Now let's take a look at another very common VLOOKUP error you might run into. In this example, I'm trying to look up the employee ID from this cell and return the employee name. I've written the formula correctly. I'm looking up the value in E6, I've selected the correct range, I'm returning the employee name, which is in the first column, and I'm even using false for an exact match. So why am I still getting number n/a? Here's the reason. The column that contains your lookup value is actually on the wrong side. With VLOOKUP, the lookup column must always be on the left-hand side of the column you want to return. That's a hard rule. It's just how VLOOKUP works. In this setup, that rule is broken, so Excel simply can't find the result. Now watch this. If I go back into the formula, update the table range, and adjust the column index number, then press Enter, there we go. Now it works perfectly. So this is something you always need to keep in mind when using VLOOKUP. And if you want a more flexible solution, especially if you're using Excel for Microsoft 365 or newer, you can use XLOOKUP instead. XLOOKUP completely removes this left side limitation, making it much more powerful and easier to work with. And that's a wrap for this tutorial. If you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more Excel tips. Drop a comment if you have questions. I always check them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.